First speaker, when our first speaker moved to Little Rock, his first project was to study and recommend a CRM software, a customer relationship management software, to his company. In the process of researching about the product, he stumbled upon a book written by Jason Fried, the founder of a web-based CRM called 37signals.com. I don't know how many of you know, but it's a pretty neat tool, 37signals.com. The title of the book, which Jason Fried wrote, and the speech title is also Rework. And he would like to give us some insight into some contrarian business ideas, something off the book. I just read about before the speech, when Aaron sent me the introduction, I was just going through about the Rework book. So the book is not about just academic theories, it's more about how the person, the period of 10 years, how he has survived 2 recessions and still made the company profitable. So I think there's no better person than Aaron to tell us or share some of the ideas that he learned from the book. Aaron.
Have you ever not shown up to work for 3 days in a row without telling your boss and not been fired for it? Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, the purpose of this evening's speech is to give you some ideas into how we can rethink the way we go about doing good, memorable work for ourselves and our organizations. Now, I'd like to tell you the events that led up to me doing what I just mentioned in the introduction. I had studied CRM software, customer relationship management software, for my company to make a suggestion. And I discovered this book, Rework, by Jason Fried, founder of 37signals.com. And I read this book, but I also made the fatal mistake of also reading a book I checked out from the library called How to Become CEO, The Rules for Rising to the Top in Any Organization. And one small chapter said, take off one day, at least one day every month, to sharpen the saw, as they say in the leadership community, to refresh yourself, and maybe go to the library, go somewhere else other than the office. And so I thought on a Sunday back this spring, all I need is my internet access and my laptop. So I'll just go to the library or go to Starbucks, and I can do my work there. And so I did this. And boy, let me tell you, I got an email Wednesday, coming from that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I tried to explain that it doesn't matter what particular latitude and longitude you're at and where your rear end is in some particular chair in the world, that's not the equivalence of productivity. So what I realized what it was, and that I'm not ashamed of, is that it was self-improvement that I was working on. And it was also, I had a sense of, this thing was sensible to me, right? And then the third thing was that that I did so decisively. I took decisive action, and I didn't necessarily request permission. I didn't hesitate, and for that, I make no apologies, and I have no regrets. So who among you would like to join me in the shouldn't have club, where you say to yourself, man, I shouldn't have done this, rather than saying in the future someday, man, I really wish I should have done that. I wish that I would have taken that initiative with regret. I'm sorry. So Jason Fried, in the book Rework, he asks people, where do you go to get meaningful work done? And surprisingly, people don't say the office from 8 to 5. They'll say the deck, the patio, coffee shop, the library, maybe it's on an airplane. And some people might say, well, it doesn't matter when it is, where it is, as long as it's really early in the morning, or really late in the evening, or on the weekends. Now, why is this? It's because we no longer really have a work day. We have work moments. Everything's diced up. Have you ever been at 5 p.m. at the end of the day and thought, man, what did I get done today? I mean, you've been here, you've used an expensive computer, the software. What did I do today? And it's because work is a lot like sleep. Now, don't take this the wrong way. It isn't that you can go to work and sleep, and that you can sleep and also get meaningful work done. That's not what I mean. It's not what Jason Fried means whenever he writes in Rework. What it is that if you get interrupted during sleep at night, you can't just go back and pick up where you left off. You have to start from the very beginning. And so it's important to get meaningful work done uninterrupted stretches of time at work to be truly productive. So these two things that cause these interruptions at work where people don't answer, I go to the office to get meaningful work done, are the M&Ms. And this isn't the little chocolate candies on the receptionist's desk that gives us a sugar high and then we crash. It's not the M&Ms I'm talking about. I'm talking about managers and meetings, the two things that are very toxic to an organization. Think about what a manager does. Their job essentially is just to go around and interrupt people, right? They don't actually do the work, so they have to manage these other people and tap them on the shoulder. Hey, how's it going? How's this project coming? And people find this often very distracting. And so what Jason Fried suggests is, have you ever heard of casual Fridays, redress up casually on Fridays? Well, how about no talk Thursdays? One Thursday every month, maybe just the afternoon, we'll make it pain-free. Nobody can talk to anyone. It's just silence. I think you'll find that a tremendous amount of meaningful work actually gets done. The second suggestion is to have passive communication. You can quit your Outlook, you can quit your instant messenger, but you can't quit your boss. So instead of interrupting them when they could be actually doing meaningful work, it's similar to interrupting their sleep. Give them passive communication that they can choose to disrupt themselves on their own schedule. Now the second M is meetings. And who calls meetings? Managers. And you'll never see employees spontaneously break out into a meeting. And the thing about meetings, they're just toxic. Denise knows what I'm talking about. So what do you do about these meetings? Here's my suggestion. Also Jason Fried's is the inspiration. Just cancel the meeting entirely. Don't reschedule it because they're procreative. They beget meetings, beget more meetings. Instead, just cancel it and wipe it from memory. You'll find out that the things you had to talk about, you really didn't have to talk about in the first place a lot of times. But if you have to have a meeting, set some conditions and some boundaries. Have a clear scope, have a moderator that keeps everything on time, and even have a bell perhaps. And once the meeting's over, bell rings, you're done. Nobody can say any more words. Okay? Or, instead of going into a conference room, if it's maybe about some broken down pump or some piece of hardware or equipment in a manufacturing environment, have the meeting out there, put on your hard hat and your safety glasses, and go out and get in the environment of what you're actually talking about. And my favorite, this is one I came up with earlier, is that if you have to meet in a conference room, replace the comfortable executive chairs like the ones you're sitting in now with treadmills. Imagine that, everybody walking towards the same purpose. I think this will really move meetings along quite well. So recall the question I asked you at the beginning. Who among you would like to join me in the Shouldn't Have Club? Do you want to one day look back and think, gosh, I was young and naive. I shouldn't have done that. I'm glad I did. Or do you want to look back with regret and sorrow? Gosh, I should have done that. I should have taken that initiative. I wish I had. Join the Shouldn't Have Club. But there's one requirement. Challenge the status quo. Question authority. Incessantly innovate. Renew, refresh, revise, and repeat.